Hello viewers and welcome back to another flight simulator video where I'll be doing a flight from Nantes to Dublin. But for this episode we're in PMDG 737-800NG, and what an aircraft this is. I only bought this aircraft recently and it is a lot of fun to fly. And as you can see, we are currently boarding in Nantes airport on the west coast of France. And I've just inputted a flight route into my FMC. So I'm just finishing up the pre-flight checklist before we get going into the air. So let's start the APU. So we're going to turn on fuel pump after one is on. Start the APU. And then while we're just finishing up our pre-flight checklist and our cockpit safety inspection. Sure, that's on 20. There we go. Now this little dial here should spoil up. There we go. So yeah, I've been flying this aircraft for quite a while now, and it is a very realistic aircraft to fly, in my opinion. I can get lots of enjoyment out of this aircraft, and it's definitely a lot more better than the standard 737-800 that comes with Microsoft Flight Simulator, the default one now. I even deleted the the default 737 just for this aircraft. So any minute now we should be told to turn on the APU. There we go. Right, both APU switches are on. And now we'll go. And now we focus on our bleed switches. They're already on. Now the AC voltmeter on the right, select that for APU generator. Right, so we've almost completed the pre-start checklist, but we can disconnect most of the ground power there now, or we can disconnect some of the ground connections there. We'll leave the wheel chocks on for the moment until we begin pushback. Right then, so now we can turn on all our fuel pumps, all the hydraulic pumps, and thrust this down, and then we can, well, we didn't need to turn off the fans there. We only need to turn off our packs for now until after the engine startup is complete. And then fuel switches are off, the engine switches are idle, parking brake is set, and the board is complete. Okay, so we're pretty much ready to go. So I can just go up, close these doors. And the frame rate has dropped on me there for a moment. And I'll just finish up the pre-flight checklist, and then we will. Oh well, it has. I was going to skip the video here because of the frame rate, but somehow managed to recover for me. But anyway though, we'll just put in our last bit, the departure and arrivals. We're using runway 21 and we're using the Ballin 1 Sierra departure. And we'll input that, execute that, there we go. So after takeoff, it's a climb up to this waypoint here, and then take a right turn up the way to Retco, if I've pronounced that correctly, which I don't think I have. So yeah, and the frame rate dropped on me a bit there, but now it's recovered. Don't know why Fraps is acting like this, but it's been acting like this for quite a while now. Now then, so we will now go to the arrivals, and I think runway 28 is what they're using. So ILS runway 28, and we're going to be using the Vatry 3 Tango departure. Or not the departure, the arrivals. What am I saying? And now we'll just go through our legs page. Just finish up here. Plan. Run through the FMC here. Run through our legs. Just make sure there's no. Oh, there is discontinuities. But there we are. It's fixed. Any more? Nope. No. Okay, we're good. Well then I may. Okay, hang on. We haven't completed the we haven't put in our cruising altitude. So flight level 200, 0 fuel weights 44.3, and we've half the fuel tank. So I'm going to say we might have 20 by the time we get back. Cost and decks, again, this is a wild guess for me, so I'm going to say 10. Again, I'm still learning on how this aircraft flies, and some of this new stuff here that I'm not well familiar with. I'm more familiar with like the freeware airplanes. Although as you've seen in some of my videos, I have feel there's Embraer E-Jet Series, the 195 and the 175, and I have Quality Wings 757. But this one, the PMDG 737, is the most advanced. Is one of the most advanced, if not the most advanced aircraft I have flown in a flight simulator. Well, this particular version, PMDG's 737, is very advanced. So switch that back to map. Set that back to 20. We've set our M1 limits, and now we can do the takeoff rep. As you can see, since we're carrying very small passengers, we're only carrying like 30 passengers, along with we're only carrying like half the fuel, 50% of fuel up here. So yeah, it's so you can expect a much more shorter takeoff once we get into the air. So is there any more to do? Oh, we haven't put in our center of gravity, so there we go. That stuff, and yeah, okay, I say we're all set to go. So pre-start checklist complete. We're ready for pushback. So we'll tell ground services to push us back. Now, which way do we want to go? Do we want to go nose left, tail right, or nose right, tail left? I say we can go nose left, tail right. Do I want to start engine before pushback? No. Departure clearance requested. Frame rate had a bit of a moment on me again. Right, so now we can go to our ground connections, remove the wheel chocks. FS actions.
Hello,
ground connections.
We are ready for pushback.
Removed. Okay. And progress. And alright. Now then. We're on standby now with engine 2. There's the bus that brought the passengers over for us. Parked there. We can turn on our taxi lights, turn on our landing lights, all that fun stuff. So yeah, and the cockpit of this aircraft is very realistic as well, very detailed as well. Lots of buttons and switches you can play with on this aircraft. Right, so we're coming on to our runway 21 now, so we can engage VNAV and LNAV. Set this down to 5. Alright, we're coming onto the runway now. So we got a clear runway ahead of us, so we don't need to, so we can just go as we are. Advanced throttles to halfway. And they're stabilized, so full power. Okay, so we've hit 8 knots. Whoops.
V1, rotate. V2.
Whoa, we got off the air very quickly there. Thanks to the less fuel and the less passengers we have on board, we're able to get into the air more quickly. Okay, so our landing lights can come off. along with the runway turn-off lights, and the wheel well lights can be off as well. And we can make a right turn now towards Redco. It's our first waypoint on the on our flight plan. Now let's just take a moment to have a look at this beautiful airplane, PMDG 737, with the Ryanair texture on this aircraft. Now we can set this, the auto brake, set that off, and now, so yeah, once we get on the course here on this pink line there, I'll then engage the VNAV and LNAV, and I can simply let the plane take off from there then. Right, so looking at our climbing checklist, takeoff and climb, auto brake is off, spoiler disarm, landing lights are off, runway turn off lights are off, wheel well lights are off, autopilot altitude is set, handoff to departure, window heat is on, wing anti-ice, don't think we need it, but if the checklist wants it on, then gladly I'll have it on. And that's the climb checklist complete. So, we can engage VNAV and LNAV. Turn on our auto throttle. And now the aircraft is pretty much doing the flying for us. Clear that message there. Right, so that's the aircraft climbing up as we're flying along the French coast to Dublin. So yeah, set our altitude there, and yeah, so now let's take a moment to have a look at this aircraft. As you can see, it's definitely a lot more detailed than the default 737. And also, unlike the original 737, well, Microsoft's version, there's even a cabin view here. You can see you have a good view of the cabin here as well. Although it looks pretty empty, even though we had passengers boarding on it using ground services. We're almost now to our cruising altitude of flight level 200, and I think we can turn off the anti-ice now. There we go. Oh, we haven't turned on our packs. Very important. Set them here. Right, and now the aircraft is pretty much flying by itself. I mean, I can pretty much walk off and let the aircraft fly by itself, thanks to the aircraft's VNAV and LNAV systems, once the autopilot is installed. So anyway, the flaps are up, and yeah, maybe we should also consider setting the ILS frequency for runway 28. So I'm going to pause this video here and set an ILS frequency for runway 28 because Fraps can't display the map once you get into the world tab in Flight Simulator. So it's just going to be a couple of seconds, and I'll be back in a moment. All right, so I picked up the so I read the world tab up here, and it's 111.35 for runway 28. So I'll go ahead and put that in here, 111.35. There we go. So when we hit the localizer for runway 28, the computer, the EFIS display, should be able to pick up the localizer easily. And then this here, displayed underneath the our altimeter here, it should capture the glide slope, and then it should make it easier for our approach and landing into Dublin. So we can set that back up to 20. And yeah, but yeah, while there are lots of good things to say about this aircraft, there is still one or two problems I did have with this aircraft while flying it. Most of the time though, every time when I try to like switch to another aircraft or exit out of Flight Simulator to go back to the main menu, my Flight Simulator 10 just simply shuts off on me, just mysteriously shuts down on me, no error message or anything, just like that, you know. So yeah, and also another time is sometimes the buttons here can be a bit tedious to press. Like sometimes even if you're hovering your mouse above them, they sometimes struggle to capture where the buttons are. This only happened to me once so far, but it hasn't happened again since. This was yesterday when I was doing a flight from Dublin to Palma, Mallorca. So yeah, but other than that though, the aircraft is a lot of fun to fly, despite the minor issues that I've had with this aircraft. But for now, the way I can fix but since I'm using the Steam version of FSX, this is one problem I do have with it, that sometimes when I have a fatal error with this game, it just simply shuts down, gives me the error message, all that stuff, but it never opens up again after that. Not until I restart my computer, which is a bit of a pain. But the way I can bypass the issue with the PMDG 737 crashing every time I open up every time I select another aircraft is by exiting Flight Simulator and then re-entering it and opening it back up again, and that should bypass the issue, no problem. Right, so we're now approaching the English channel that goes between France and the UK. So it's a bit of a short flight from here to from Nantes to Dublin. We should be flying along the east coast of Ireland and the west coast of the UK if we're lucky, or if I'm right, that is. Now just one more look at the airplane. I really love those engine sounds you hear from that 737 there. I just love those engine sounds there. It does remind me of a real life 737. It definitely does feel like I'm actually flying a real airplane. I feel PMDG have done a good job making this airplane and doing the best of their ability And also looks like that they've spent a lot of time in the actual aircraft itself trying to get this aircraft to the utmost perfection, in which I have to give praise on them for that. And the textures on this particular aircraft, the Ryanair textures as well, looks very clean as well in my opinion, and very high definition colour there in my opinion. Just thought I'd give a quick update on how the flight is going. We're currently cruising, we're currently entering UK airspace. As you can see here, we're approaching the south of the UK, somewhere just near the city of Plymouth, which is somewhere down here I think, I'm not sure. But either way though, textures, bit of a delay in the textures loading in there, but other than that though, we're grand. So far the flight is going more smoother, and we've only used about 10% of our fuel. So yeah, we might be using less fuel than I predicted, even with fuel prices at an all-time high and airlines trying to cut back on fuel, trying to save as much fuel as possible. But yeah, we're currently approaching UK airspace. Or sorry, correction, we're entering UK airspace at flight level 200, cruising speed just under 250 knots, and we should make a right turn at BHD any moment. The LNAV system should at least make the right turn for us any second now. Now, there we go, the LNAV is making the right turn for us. This is not me controlling it now, this is the autopilot, the LNAV here that I've engaged, that's making the right turn for me, and it's flying this particular path. So we've now passed the BHD, and yeah, we're not far now from Ireland now. We're only like a couple of more minutes away. Right then, so we're now coming up towards our top of the descent, but we have a problem already here, ladies and gentlemen. Our FMC has frozen completely. Even if I press buttons, nothing's happening. Progress, descent, back to the menu even, nothing. The FMC is completely frozen, so I'm pretty much without it for the remainder of the flight. So yeah, it's a bit of a pain, but we can still fly the airplane manually. So let's get ready for the approach, for the descent. Go through our descent checklist. So disengage the autopilot. And we can turn on the fasten seatbelt sign, if it will let me. There we go. We'll take a rough guess. Since we're without our FMC, I'm gonna say, since we can't access the legs page, I'm gonna say flight level 150 for our descent. So we're gonna take this one in nice and slowly. Everything else is still working. We have the EFIS display, the engine display, and the PFD, I think it's called, is still working. There's Ireland over there. Well, actually, yeah, there's Ireland just there. And there's the UK just there. We're currently on the Irish Sea at the moment. So we're now on final approach into Dublin. turn off our auto throttle. Forgotten that was on in the first place. Now, I'm not sure how the FMC froze in the first place. No idea whatsoever. Well, everything else still works, that's for sure. So we're just going to take this one in nice and slowly. Should also consider arming our speed brakes. Damn. Can't put in anything into the FMC. Nothing whatsoever. Looks like we're going to have to go back. Looks like we're going to have to fly this airplane old school. The flight control's still working out. Everything else still works. Alright, so we're now descending into Dublin Airport. We passed our top of the descent. And we are now descending to 6,500 feet. Well, it's a guess anyway, because again, my FMC is still frozen. Even tried like switching windows and all. I tried doing this basically. But no, nothing whatsoever. No, the FMC is still frozen on me. What could cause it beyond me, but at least I can still fly the airplane, which is a positive I can take. Anyway, we're coming down to 11,000 feet. Well, we're at 11,100. Now we're at 11,000. I have turned on the landing lights here, our runway turn-off lights, and the wheel well lights, or the wheel wall lights, I mean, sorry. So as you can see the nice Irish landscape over there. Over there, beyond there, you can see somewhere along there. Down there is. Well, we're just passing Cork now, and now we're passing along Wexford. So over there, we're just passing, and now we're also passing the Wicklow Mountains. Alright, we're down below 10,000 feet. Landing lights are on, runway turn-off lights are on. Now, let's do the approach checklist. Descend and approach. Done that. Airport media information retrieve. Oh, we haven't done our airport information. But auto brakes are set. There we go. Set that. We'll set it to 1 for now. And top of the descent, we've done that. We put in our approach long before we took off from Nantes. We have our ILS frequency in, and we have our speed brakes armed. Landing lights are on, runway turn-off lights are on, spoilers are armed, so that's the descent and approach descent checklist complete. So yeah, I'll just go and retrieve some of that airport information, see if we're landing on runway 28. Alright, so we're now approaching our altitude of 6,500. We're just 700 feet away, but let's just quickly check our altitude, or correct it nearly. We're just 100 feet off from our real altitude, but I've corrected it just now. And we're coming towards Tulsa, so we should make the left turn now. There we go. Give the aircraft a bit of power. I mainly prefer when flying on approach. I mainly prefer to have control over the airplane when flying, or when bringing the aircraft in on final approach into any particular airport. Some nice Irish scenery over there. Think down there is Bray Head, I think. I'm not sure. Looks like Bray Head anyway. And then you have the Wicklow Mountains over there somewhere. We're just about 100 feet under our assigned altitude. Oh, it says it right there now. There's the altitude we should be at. 6,000 feet according to the EFIS display. So it looks like we do have a backup altitude reader after all. Well, that's good to know. Nice we have a backup anyway, even with the FMC frozen. Although it hasn't affected the aircraft too much, we can still fly the aircraft and all. I mean, the altitude reader here is still working along with the EFIS and the engine display panels, and we still got plenty of fuel as well. We could nearly have enough fuel to make it all the way to Edinburgh if we had a choice. But in this case, though, we're flying to Dublin, so there's no need to fly to Edinburgh because I have the aircraft file to fly to Dublin, obviously. Right, down to 2,500 feet. And the airplane has managed to capture the localizer. So we'll begin the approach. Final approach in. Flaps lower is indicated on the PFD, but I can't do that because our FMC is frozen. So I'll do the flaps manually. Gear goes down at least flap 20. Excuse me. There's another 737 flying over us. But in this case, that's a 737 W. We're in the NG. Anyway, we're not far now from the capturing the localizer for runway 28. So flaps down to 20. Landing gear can come down now. And now we're flying in some very dense fog here. Right, flaps 30. Damn, I can barely see a thing. Go to the outside view, see if I can get a better idea. Whoa, it is absolutely dense fog here. I can barely see a thing. Oh, I can see something now. Hold on, I can see the ground now. I can see the ground. But I can't see the runway. We're gonna have to rely on the glide slope to help us out. This is some pretty dangerous flying conditions here. Probably too dangerous even for IFR aircraft like myself. I'm sure in this kind of weather the flights will be cancelled immediately. Airlines will be like, nope, too dangerous, we can't do it. And then the flights are cancelled. Alright, we are just about coming onto the glide slope now. We're just a little bit off to the right, but that can be easily fixed. Right, arm the speed brakes. Ah, there's the runway now. I could just barely see the lights on the at the start of the runway. Likewise, though, we're coming in on runway 28. TCAS can't detect any aircraft on the taxiways, and I can tell by my own eyes it's correct. Don't see any aircraft there, so it'll be safe for us to come in. Right, 300.
40, 30, 20, 10.
Alright, we've landed. Reverse thrusters are on, speed brakes are down. Master caution can be turned off. Turn off the auto brake. Alright. It was pretty foggy on the start of the runway, on the start of the localizer runway 28, but at least we made it in safe and sound as well. Right, so now power up the APU, turn on our taxi lights. Whoops, and the landing lights can come back on. APU is running again. Well, at least trying to get up and running. So we'll use, we'll taxi to our gate now. We'll taxi to gate D, and we'll take 107. Request follow me. No, I'm pretty sure I can find it myself. And we want Ryanair because I'm flying in a Ryanair texture. Oh, there's another. Thought I seen another aircraft. Yeah, I did. Another aircraft gonna have a go landing in the fog. It's an ATR 42-300. It's either Air Aran or Aer Lingus Regional. Even though Air Aran no longer flies anymore, as I stated back in Nantes. Aer Lingus now owns the aircraft with the Stobart call sign. It looks like there's a private jet taking off, along with a it's either Air France or CityJet taxiing right behind there. One of those Lockheed aircraft. Oh, it's a British Aerospace actually. Sorry, not a Lockheed. It's a British Aerospace aircraft. But anyway, there's the marshaller. Now, let's see if we can perfect this parking here in Dublin. That's it. That's it. Alright, now then, parking brake set, fuel cutoff is there, very good parking. Alright, We did well perfecting the parking there. Engine 1 and engine 2 are cut off. There we go. Double check with the master caution, even though I know it's already off. Right. Oh yeah, I forgot. The FMC is frozen, so we can't like get some of that ground connection stuff in. Some of that fancy stuff we saw back in Nantes. But oh well. We'll just disembark the passengers, and we'll do it the old-fashioned way by using the buttons to open up the doors and the cargo doors. Well, that's if it will let me. Come on. The cargo doors are bound to open. Okay, looks like the cargo doors can't open, so we'll just finish off the the shutdown checklist. Looks like I can't use Shift E +2 to open the cargo doors or the rest of the doors. Unfortunately, can't do it without the FMC, which is a shame. All right, so the APU bleed switches can now be off. There we go. External lights are off. We'll turn off all the lights pretty much. TCAS is on standby. The yaw damper can be switched off. There we go. Pitot switches are off. But just to be sure, as us Irish would say, to be sure. Yep, they're off. Engine start switches are both off. Now we can turn off our fuel switches, and then our hydraulic pumps. They're all off. Master warning, disengage. And external lights all off. And the emergency exit lights can be uncovered and off. IR selectors, they can be both off. And the AC voltmeter to the right can be set to standby power. There we go. And interior lights are all off. And voltmeter to the left can also be put on standby. Master warning again switched off. Battery switch can now be turned off. If I can find it. There we go. There we go. Battery switch is off. And now the APU can be switched off. Alright, so that is my flight from so that was the PMDG 737-800 NGX from Nantes to Dublin. Again, I'm still learning how this aircraft flies, but if you have any hints or tips on how I can get the most out of this aircraft or fly this aircraft better, or even get to know this aircraft even more, particularly this version, PMDG 737 version even more, then please leave your suggestions in the comment section below. Or if you like if you've flown the aircraft before, and if you would like to share your experience with this aircraft as well, then you can also leave it in the comment section down below as well. But anyway, thank you for watching this flight simulator video from Nantes to Dublin using PMDG 737, and I hope you have a good day, and goodbye.